How's it going, guys? It is FakeThriller, and joining me today is Tim, aka Darkness429 from the Battlefield podcast. Today we're going to go over our trip to London and our experience with the Battlefield Showdown live that we took part in. In addition to that, we're going to go over some of the questions that you guys asked us concerning Battlefield 4 on the Xbox, as well as some of the information that we learned about the Second Assault DLC pack. So I think the first thing that we should dive right into is actually our experience over in London. So Tim, if you want to indulge us all and tell us about the event itself.
Well, the event was really cool. It's something I've never been a part of, and it was like a joint venture between Microsoft and EA, and they put on this huge event, really just showcasing and highlighting Battlefield 4 on the Xbox One, showing off the capability of running 64 players on one server, and all doing that with spectator mode. And I really think they pulled it off really, really well. What do you think?
Yeah, the whole thing was pretty surreal. Like, I've never been on the set of live production before. And
yeah, it was like being on TV, except it was on the internet.
Yeah, like we were seeing some professionals do some serious work, like in front of the camera. Our floor show manager was straight out of the 70s with his fro and like 3 too many buttons undone, showing some chest hair and stuff. But it was like classic, like you're on set, so pull it together.
The whole experience of it all was pretty intense. We had a pretty vigorous amount of rehearsing we had to do. I mean, I think we went through the actual show at least twice, like just the actual parts of the live stuff that you guys saw of us being in front of the cameras and whatnot. We also had personal interviews we did for some B-roll footage, and then also we got to run scrims over and over and over again against the EU team. A lot of them were shorter versions of what you guys saw in the live stream. A lot of them were like 5 or 10 minutes long. And then for the final dress rehearsal, right before the live event, we actually went through the entire show from beginning to end, playing all the rounds just like you guys saw on the live stream. And it's really cool to say that we did exactly what we did on the live stream, which I thought was awesome. Like we cleaned out Team EU 3-zip, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, so for any of you who haven't paid attention to the VOD of the broadcast over on Battlefield.com.
Yeah, Battlefield.com.
Spoiler alert, we won. America is victorious. But as Tim was saying, we swept them pretty handily in the matches that counted, as well as almost all of the scrims leading up to the live broadcast. But it was like some hard fought stuff. Like if you guys go back and watch the video, which I highly recommend, I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can hear Team US screaming in the background. Like we were just going apeshit crazy. Because we had to communicate. Like, communication was probably our most valuable asset, and I think that's what made us win. But you can hear us screaming out over our comms and through our Astro headsets to make sure we knew we needed somebody back on Echo or push forward to take A, and the whole thing, like the energy in the room was unbelievable.
It was electric, man. I mean, like if you don't have time to watch the entire live stream, then just watch the Obliteration match. I've only played a little bit of Battlefield 4. We didn't have a lot of time to play the full release, but I played a good amount of the beta. And Obliteration's fun, but I have never played a match like that one. That one was one of the most stressful things I've ever been part of, because there was so much going back and forth. Like, if you can remember a good capture the flag match, take that and multiply it by 100, because holy crap, there was so much going on. Because the map we played on was on Goldman Railway, and it's a pretty big map. So like the locations of the bomb sites are pretty spread apart. For a 32-man match, and I couldn't believe the amount of going back and forth that we had with Team EU.
Yeah, you want to talk about stressful? Like as Tim just said, he didn't make a mistake. It wasn't only a 32-man match. It was 16 versus 16. So half of the EU team and half of Team US was sitting on the sidelines, and talk about stress. I was one of the 16 on Team US that was sitting out. And I was watching the match not on the monitor, like the live monitor that was in the studio, but I was watching Major Nelson's commander mode, just following the progress of the bomb, and it would pop up saying bomb was dropped, bomb was planted, so on and so forth. And it was the most up and down roller coaster of my life. We were all screaming. I saw Shibby drop to his knees one time out of sheer desperation for us to pull it off. And I went back and watched the VOD, and it's just like 10 times crazier when you can actually see who's getting killed and see how close the jet strafe runs come and everything. It was incredibly obvious, and I think everyone was super stoked with the overall production of the show.
Yeah.
When all was said and done, never mind just that obliteration match. But I think now what we'll do is we'll go into some of the questions that you guys asked us on Twitter about the event, about Xbox One, and about Battlefield 4, and about the Second Assault DLC.
So at Jordy AK asks, does Caspian Border still feel too big? As on console before, it wasn't the most exciting map, unless you were in a vehicle. No, I don't think it feels big at all. Having played it on console before, I do agree it did feel very large. But now having 64 players on that map, it feels just right. Because on PC in Battlefield 3, we had it 64-man. And it never felt too small. It actually felt, pretty good for the size that it was meant to be played on. And I think they hit it right on the head.
Yeah, as someone who's played plenty of console games on Caspian in Battlefield 3, it's not uncommon to see the top person on the scoreboard finish 8-5 or something like that, or 7-0. But on Caspian Border 2014, which is what it's being called in Battlefield 4, on the Xbox One with 64 players, to give you an idea of how busy it feels, you can't comfortably spawn at the gas station flag and drive to any other flag without worrying about being intercepted by at least one person, if not an entire squad.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to try, flanking doesn't work very well. You can't cut all the way across around the map anymore without being picked up by at least a couple people.
Yeah.
So it does not feel too big. It is perfect.
Definitely.
So at Sam Winks wants to know what are the changes to Caspian Border, and are they better or are they worse? Probably the biggest change on the map is this massive prison wall. I guess is probably the most accurate way to describe it. It's probably a 30-foot high, 15-foot thick wall.
Yeah.
That it spans all the way from Alpha, actually it spans all the way across the entire map, so as far as you can see, basically dividing the map into thirds. It sections off map points A and B, and then so it basically, that chain link fence that went up the entire length of the map between Charlie, Delta, and then Alpha and Bravo has been replaced with this massive prison wall. And that wall does a fantastic job of containing the flow of people out of the U.S. spawn and getting the Russians into the U.S. spawn.
Yeah, what it actually does, like Chris said, it controls flow because it only has 3 points of entry. There is actually a hole in the wall when you start, and then there's 2 entrance points, one by Bravo flag and then one by Alpha flag. And these two are different. The one by Alpha on the road towards Echo, towards gas station, is the sliding door that has a button on the opposite side of it that you can actually close and control the flow of vehicles. And on the Bravo side is the one that you actually see in the trailer, and it's these large, it's like spiked walls that actually lift out of the ground. And the only way you can drop them down is by going inside a guard shack and hitting the button to then lower them.
To answer the question specifically as to whether these are better or worse, I think they are 100% for the better, because it creates almost a flow to the map where there's non-stop action at Charlie and Delta.
Right.
And it still allows for epic flank plays if you need to capture Alpha and Bravo, or if you, from the US side, want to push up and try and take Echo. But for the most part, it just creates these awesome battles at Charlie and Delta constantly. So the changes from what we know now are 2 thumbs up. Coming up next, we have at PA Farm Boy. I'm assuming that's Pennsylvania Farm Boy. He says, did you know you would dominate them that bad? I assume he's talking about Team US beating Team EU. And how many ways through for the US in the wall on Caspian? And are the control sticks better? So we have actually 3 questions here. The first one is, did you know you would dominate them that bad? I think the simple answer is we didn't know up until we started scrimming, and then it kind of became clear that our communication and our planning that led up to the event were really going to pay off. And we had a game plan in play, and everything just fell into place. And once the event went live, we were pretty much, I would say, 95% confident we were going to come away with the win.
Yeah, when we did the scrim on Caspian, like we did this a couple times. And we kind of like played it out the same way every time. I don't know if you guys noticed in the live stream, but they zerged a lot. They never once really split apart. It was always these very large infantry rushes towards flags. So that always left other flags open for caps. But with that being said, it was very frustrating in trying to contain them in a manageable way, just because of just the large mass of infantry units. But they never really switched it up. That was the exact same thing they did every single time. Up until the actual live event, they switched it up just a little bit, and we had a little bit of a hard time towards the end, but then we kicked them right out and pushed back, and we won the game.
The second part of his question is how many ways through the wall in Caspian. Essentially, when the map starts, before it's been levolutioned, there's only 2 ways. However, you can break holes pretty much anywhere along the wall except for in the guard towers. But any flat wall piece can be broken,
right.
Only it takes a long time. I think it takes like 6 to 8 RPGs.
Well, from what I heard from Daniel Matros, is he said it was 20 C4 packs to go through the wall. And there's also one more point of entrance. There's a hole that's already been made at Charlie Flag.
Okay.
That's about wide enough for a tank to fit through. But you can, in theory, levolution, quote unquote, the entire wall if you want to waste that much C4. Like the entire wall can crumble, except for the guard towers.
The final question from Pennsylvania Farm Boy is, are the control sticks on the Xbox One controller better than the Xbox 360? And it's interesting. I think it's going to be a matter of preference for each individual. I liked them a little bit. There was like some incredibly grippy edges to them, but they're smaller.
They are smaller, and what I like about that is they actually fit like right in the middle of your thumb. Kind of like how you have like those like the points on your thumb pads. They actually kind of fit into the grooves, and I'd never noticed my fingers slipping off the thumbsticks. I always felt like I was on them. But for some guys like Chinny, he didn't like them because he actually uses the tips of his thumbs when he plays.
Yeah.
So for him, it was uncomfortable. So the next question is from @Banyan9. He wants to know, do the Xbox One graphics didn't really appear that much better in multiplayer gameplay than on the 360. What do we think?
Well, that one is actually, it's all about your frame of reference. Now, right. The graphics were better than the 360, but it's like Battlefield altogether looks great no matter what you're playing it on. It only matters if you have something to like immediately next to it to really compare it.
Right. If you're playing PC and Xbox One and we're referencing them together directly, it would look horrible. Yes, it's a big improvement from the Xbox 360 because not only are you playing at 60 frames per second, but you're also playing at 720p upscaled. So like those things are pros and cons. Like yes, the 720p upscaled looks kind of torn, I guess is a good way to say it, or stretched, I guess is a better way to say it. It's literally stretched, but you can tell because like there's not a significant amount of anti-aliasing, and what I mean by that is that edges are jagged. So it's better than Xbox 360. So yes, it looks a lot better, but I would not compare it to PC graphics at all.
The next question comes from @DopeyDevils, and he wants to know, would we recommend spending $600 on new PC parts or getting an Xbox One to play Battlefield 4 and other next-gen games?
I think it's kind of hard to get $600 worth of PC parts, to be honest. If you want to get... $600 would get you a low to mid-level PC
Well, I
rig.
think what he's saying, I either
Or unless
he's very
it's like
clever.
a video card upgrade.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's coming from the point of view of you're probably going to spend $600 to get yourself up and running on the Xbox One. So let's say, where is your $600 best spent? Like going for PC or going for the Xbox One?
Then for that, this always comes down to, do you like Pepsi or Coke? It's really preference. For the Xbox One is not just a gaming console. It is also a media center. It can do a lot more than just play video games. It has a lot more to offer. So really, I think it's personal preference.
To really use Tim's American corporate Pepsi or Coke reference and make my point at the same time, it is, do you want Chili's or do you want Applebee's? And the answer is, are your friends in Chili's or are your friends in Applebee's?
There you go.
So if your friends are going to be getting a PC, then play with your friends on PC. If they're going to be getting the Xbox One, then go play with them on Xbox One. Alright guys, well that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you got some insight into the Second Assault DLC and more specifically Caspian Border. If you want a little bit more information, Tim and I actually recorded a bit longer of a conversation and he will be posting that up on his channel over at youtube.com/battlefieldpodcast. You could also check them out at battlefieldpodcast.com if you want to hear about the actual podcasts. Or you could follow Tim on Twitter at twitter.com/darkness429. Keep in mind, you can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/FakeThriller if you have any questions about Battlefield 4 or you just want someone to talk to late at night when you're lonely. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video, and we will see you in the next one.